Hi, my name is Crash. I'm the creator of STRM.TOOL, and I'm going to show you how to use trigger stacks. Let's get started. So trigger stacks are a way of stacking triggers, running a trigger one after another, and also being able to pass data from one trigger to another. Let's take a look at it here. So we have multiple triggers we can do. We have variables, just like with your bots, you can put in variables. So it'll fire in order, trigger 1, trigger 2, you can add more, trigger 3, trigger 4, trigger 5. You can add as many triggers as you want, and you can pass data from the previous trigger by putting stack in when you build the trigger, and I'll show you how to add that variable later. Or you can pull the data from a specific trigger. Say you're on trigger 3 and you want the data that trigger 1 put out. You'd go stack and then 1 to pass that data to trigger 3. Like I said, you can have as many as you want. Now you can also add a delay between triggers. So say you wanted trigger 1 to fire, you wanted to wait 5 seconds, and then trigger 2, you'd put a 5 right here. So fire trigger 1, wait 5 seconds, move on to trigger 2, wait 10 seconds, move on to trigger 3, wouldn't wait at all, move on to trigger 4, so on and so forth. You can also remove specific triggers by using the trash can. So we can get rid of trigger 2. You can see trigger 2 has a 10-second delay after it. Trigger 3 has 0. Let's get rid of trigger 2. And it moved everything up. It turned trigger 3 into trigger 2. So it shifts everything up. If you want a complete reset of your trigger stack, hit the trash can at the very bottom, and that puts everything back to default. So trigger stacks can be slightly confusing because you have to plan out your entire stack before you build it, and quite often you have to work backwards from your end result. You have to know exactly what you want to achieve and then figure out all the steps that it took to get there in reverse order. Let's just do a very simple trigger stack right now. What we're going to do is we'll get channel data. We'll get how many followers we have. We're going to copy that trigger, and we're going to put it in the trigger 1 stack. Paste. All right, that's all good. Now we're going to have this pop up in an alert box. So we'll go over here, and the number should be 6210. We want that to pop up in an alert box. So when we look at trigger stacks, we can see, okay, to get the data that's put out from the previous trigger, we use this stack variable. 2 less than signs, stack, and then 2 greater than signs. So we're going to go over here, basic triggers, alert box, the follower count, stack. So you can see right there, we took that variable stack, which is going to give us trigger 1 output, and put it into here. So we're going to take all this, we're going to copy that trigger now, and then we're going to put it in the trigger 2 stack. Paste. Now we can test this stack right here. You can see right now it says %3, %3C, %3C. That doesn't matter. You don't have to change it here. Just put it right in your trigger. It automatically decodes this. Let's run this. So we should get 6210 from this. Then it should take the data, put it into trigger 2, then bring up that alert box with that data in it. Let's see. 6210. So there we go. First step was we retrieved the data. Second step was we put that data into an alert box. Now we can do quite a few other nested ones as well, such as comparison. So let's delete trigger 2. We have trigger 1 still. Let's actually put in a blank alert box. So waiting, getting follower count. And this will auto dismiss in 3 seconds. And we'll go alert. Copy trigger. Let's put this here. We'll put a 3-second delay here. So what we're doing is we're getting the data. Then we're doing an alert box that just says getting follower data. And we're waiting 3 seconds on here on the alert box to auto dismiss, plus 3 seconds here. So it's going to look like it's meant to be. Let's add one more here. And then right here, let's do premium triggers. We know our follower data or our follower count is more than 6,000. So we're going to do something a little bit special here. We're going to check if it's greater than 6,000, we're going to do another alert box. So we're going to have to do a whole bunch of nesting here. So alert box, it's greater than 6,000. Woo-hoo. All right. So we're doing our final alert box at the end. Like I said, sometimes you have to work backwards to build this. So we're going to copy the trigger. Now we're going to go to premium trigger and we're going to check. We're going to do counting and math. So now we're going to do a comparison. What we're going to do now is we're going to take the information from stack 1. And if it is greater than 6,000, then we'll put the alert box in. So you can see we can do nested triggers as well. We can actually put a trigger within a trigger. We're going to copy this. We're going to go to trigger stacks. We're going to put that on trigger 3. So what this is doing is step 1 is it's getting how many followers we have. Step 2, it just puts an alert box out that says getting follower data. It's just a placeholder, just to show that we have an alert box with an auto dismiss of 3 seconds. And after 3 seconds, we're going to fire this next trigger, which is a comparison. This comparison then will take the data from stack 1. Right here, you can see the output of a specific trigger, stack 1. And if it is greater than 6,000, then we will do an alert box that says it's greater than 6,000. All right, now that we have this trigger stack built, I know it can be a bit confusing, but we actually have 4 triggers in here. We have checking for Twitch data. We have a placeholder alert box. And then we have a comparison with an alert box inside of it. So it's nested. Let's see. Run. Getting follower count. Next up, it's greater than 6,000. Perfect. There we go. So now we had multiple triggers firing, and we had, if it was greater than 6,000 in the comparison, it did this other trigger. So you can nest triggers. You can bury triggers within triggers. Same thing with countdown timer. When a timer's done, the end message can be an HTTP trigger as well. So with that, what you can do is you can run multiple timers and then have them fire a stack and then have them check to see if a number is valid, and then run another countdown timer with a stack in it that compares something that is another stack. So you can loop endlessly and you can nest endlessly. You have no limit to how many trigger stacks you can use here. All right, let's build one final trigger stack that's going to be very useful to many of you. We're going to disable WASD for 60 seconds, then re-enable it all through trigger stacks. All right, first step, disable WASD. So let's go to premium triggers, key modify, and WASD disable. We're going to copy that trigger, put it into a trigger stack in trigger 1, paste, and then delay before next trigger 60 seconds. And the next trigger is going to be WASD restore. Copy trigger, trigger stacks, paste, and there you have it. It's that simple. We have disabled WASD, wait 60 seconds, then re-enable WASD all in one stack. Now you can copy that stack and you can put it right into your bot. You can link it to channel points, to cheers, to whatever. If you have any questions about trigger stacks or how to build a specific trigger stack, stop by the support Discord and I'll give you a hand.